Welcome to the Sustainable Design Lab podcast. I'm Brodie, Vander, Dussen.
And I'm Chris Bradley. And today we're talking to two amazing innovators who are cultivating innovation in the field of sustainable packaging, Sam Boex and Bella Collins from Flexi-Hex. Now, these two people are pretty amazing. Sam is a surfer and Bella's this crazy rower who rowed across the Pacific and the Atlantic. Really incredible stories. And their experience in the ocean, seeing plastic and the impact that it was making really drove their whole story and reason why they kind of joined this company to create a difference. And so they're really rethinking what protective packaging can look and feel like.
Both of them have their own strengths and experience that come together with the greater Flexi-Hex team to really create this, not only a product that performs well and is beautiful and functional, but something that's also sustainable. It's fueled by that mission, like you said, of seeing the impact of packaging in the ocean, our worst case scenario, and they've really come up with a product that I think is going to make a big impact and has an opportunity to change and do a lot for brands out there.
And they're really purpose-driven, and you're going to meet a lot of those people on this podcast if you haven't listened before. And they're really kind of driving the future. What I loved about Bella is she's a phenomenal marketer. Some of her viral videos and other things have really been instrumental in getting attention for the Flexi-Hex brand, and that storytelling around sustainability is a critical component. And so we had a really great conversation with them, talking about where design meets sustainability and how this can play a bigger role in packaging adoption. So it was a fun episode.
It was great. They are good friends and good partners to the Sustainable Design Lab at Veritiv, and we're excited to bring you into our conversation. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So this first question will be for Sam. Flexi-Hex started with a personal challenge, shipping surfboards without plastic. Can you take us back to that moment and how it sparked the first sleeve design?
Yeah, back in sort of 2017, I think it was off the back of buying a surfboard online. It sort of arrived in just lots and lots of bubble wrap. And, obviously a surfboard's a very high value item. And my initial thoughts were kind of from a product, I'm from a product design background. My initial thoughts were, how could we kind of develop a packaging solution that's just kind of just made it look a better consumer experience, but very quickly moved on to how can you make it a better consumer experience and then a more sustainable kind of packaging product as well. So they kind of both came side by side as a project brief, and we sort of took that into our business at the time, which was product development, sort of product design business, and started to develop the product.
That's great.
Now, how long have you guys been doing this since that original sleeve design?
So we launched 2018 with a product which was developed specifically for surfboards, and we've been going since then and going from strength to strength, and sort of, so yeah, how many years is that now? Sort of 8+ years. Yeah. So, but we're in a sort of really exciting, I think, phase in the business now, with lots of sort of different markets and sort of opportunities coming into the business.
Yeah, I think it's sort of developed, hasn't it, beyond surfboards and into sort of lots of different industries. So I think the one that we're most renowned for now is the drinks industry, and protecting bottles, from alcoholic bottles, spirits and wine to olive oils and all sorts. Yeah, I joined the business a couple of years after Sam and Will founded it, and it's been an amazing journey, really, is to see where it's sort of spread out to beyond the surfing industry.
Yeah. And Bella, you've spent some serious time at sea yourself, not just maybe on a surfboard, but I see 2 ocean crossings, a world record from San Francisco to Hawaii. How has that experience shaped the way you approach your work and the mission at Flexi-Hex?
Yeah, I mean, I joined Flexi-Hex after sort of my experiences at sea. Sort of seeing plastic out in the ocean and sort of, especially rowing between San Francisco and Hawaii and seeing the sort of the plastic out there. And so definitely the passion is fueled from what I've seen it out in the ocean. Again, on that journey towards Hawaii, I saw more plastic than I did any sort of wildlife, which is seriously alarming. But I think beyond that, what beyond the passion is the resilience it's given me. It's that sort of mindset of, okay, well, there are a lot of hurdles we face as a startup, as a small business trying to change what is sort of an industry that can be quite set in its ways and sort of not necessarily that open to innovation. And I think that, the resilience that I've got and that we have as a whole team, I think everyone in our team is brilliant at challenging the status quo. Okay, that's out of our control, but what is in our control? How can we push forward? So yeah, I think yeah, the resilience piece is probably the biggest bit that I bring into the business.
Which is so necessary in this industry in packaging, but also in this sustainability niche, right? We have to be resilient and adaptable and flexible.
Yeah, and I think also a lot of sort of there's a lot of unknown. The world is changing and there's a lot of unknowns out there. And I think a lot of people are scared of change if they don't know what the answers are. And when I rowed across the oceans, I'd never even been in a rowing boat and, didn't know how to pull the oars. I didn't know which way to sort of turn them, this way or that way kind of thing. And I think what it taught me is that if I put my mind to it, if I surround myself with the people that, can support me, if I go and educate myself, that actually I can row across an ocean and anything's achievable. And I think it's the same within packaging, or like you say, any business, is that sort of we might not know the answers today, but let's go and have conversations, let's collaborate, let's support each other. And actually anything really is possible if you put your mind to it. And I know that's really, really cheesy, but it is really true.
Can you give us a little bit of color for what you actually did? Because this is a pretty incredible story. What does it mean to actually row from San Francisco to Hawaii?
So I've done 2 ocean crossings. I rode the Atlantic from the Canary Islands to the Caribbean just over 10 years ago. And then I did, San Francisco to Hawaii a couple of years ago. And essentially you're rowing in a boat that is 28 foot long and 5 foot wide, and it's entirely unsupported. So you have to make all your electricity from solar panels that charges up your batteries. From that, you have a desalination machine that turns drinking water into seawater into drinking water. All your medical equipment, everything is on board, so you're entirely self-sufficient. And you don't stop rowing. And I did it in a team of 4, and we row for 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 24/7, day and night. Both my crossings took between 30 to 40 days. It's a bit bonkers, but if I can do it, anyone can do anything.
So I guess selling packaging after that is probably not that big of a challenge.
Oh, I don't know. It's pretty tricky. Trying to sell a bit of cardboard packaging you think would be easy, and my God, it is not easy, but it's definitely worth the challenge. And like I said, the sort of the passion that comes from seeing the plastic out of sea and seeing sort of the impact on sort of the wildlife when you're out on those adventures, that drives us back in the office. And I'm super grateful to Will and Sam, because when I was interviewing for Flexi-Hex to join the team, I said, look, I really want this job, but would you give me 3 months off to go row across an ocean first? And most people I would have said, no, you're crazy. But Will and Sam said yes. So I'm super grateful for them for giving me that opportunity.
Best decision we made. That's good. It's great to have you on the team.
Sam, a question for you. We are all ocean lovers, surfers, rowers, and so on. Beyond surfboards and wrapped in plastic, what were the bigger frustrations that you saw in protective packaging at the time?
Good question. I mean, I think it started in surfboards, but I think there was a frustration, like Bella said, with from a surfing background, just seeing the kind of the amount of plastics in getting washed up on the oceans, globally. I travel quite a bit as a surfer. So I think, one of the materials I think which frustrates me is EPS foams. It's kind of, they are, they're brilliant in regards to kind of being able to do their job, but they are sort of, once they get into the environment, it's an impossible kind of material to recycle. It's very difficult it breaks down and constantly breaks down in sort of smaller and smaller pieces, and very difficult to sort of clean up as well. And obviously it kind of like floats, so you'll see it all over the sort of ocean. So I think that's probably main bugbear in regards to protective packaging.
And Sam, when you were pitching Flexi-Hex to brands early on, did you get pushback or were they already looking for these kind of self-sustainable alternatives?
Yeah, so we, at the beginning, every startup will tell you it's a lot of no's. You kind of get a wall of no's, and you have to have total belief in the product, total belief in, we have a really strong team. We all believed in the product, but right back at the beginning, yeah, you are faced with a lot of no's. And kind of, I had kind of open conversations with kind of people which are now really loyal customers of ours, saying the product won't work. We didn't want to replace it. There are current systems. And I think that's, firstly, like Bella picked up on kind of a fear of the unknown, but also from a sort of human, sort of that way, the psychology of how humans kind of react in situations. But there's also, from a business point of view, sort of standard sort of operating procedures. And if you kind of go outside that or try and introduce a new product, the sort of barriers become even higher. And so being able to sort of like penetrate that and get into that it's just a huge amount of work, but slowly but surely you kind of build momentum. And I think, this is where I think we're in a sort of exciting space now, because it's a huge amount of work. And Bella's, I think it's nice that they should be so open about that. It's kind of like, obviously I have no road notion, but the amount of work we are all doing as a team to push the product out there, it is colossal. And it does feel like an ocean, rowing an ocean sometimes. But I think, but equally now, partnering with Veritiv and sort of some of the bigger businesses are starting to kind of realizing that there is a opportunity with taking, sort of supporting and incubating these sustainable kind of packaging business, and sort of incubating into their kind of existing portfolio, and sort of seeing potential for sort of usage across the globe.
Well, Sam has said that Flexi-Hex fits like a wetsuit. Again, very in theme with our ocean theme this morning. What design choices have made it adaptable across industries and products?
Yeah, so I think for those who haven't seen Flexi-Hex, the best way to describe it is sort of it's a honeycomb, a sort of expanding piece of expanding product. And so it's a sleeve, it's open-ended, and you've got two sort of sheets of honeycomb that are protected by two rails. And it's made from 100% recycled paper. But it's so adaptable because that honeycomb expands and contracts around products of all different shapes and sizes. But also the rails, I think, are really important in that. So this is sort of a patented design which connects, these two sheets of paper with the two rails. Those rails also allow it to sort of have structure at the same time. It allows it to have this flexibility. It's really simple, but it is incredibly clever at the same time. So, really Sam's the design person here. So I'd focus any design questions on the real brains behind it all.
Well, let's jump into that. Sam, when creating a paper-based solution that can match and sometimes outperform traditional plastic, that seems like a huge technical challenge. What were the biggest design and engineering hurdles that you faced, or how did your approach to design, I would say, help you overcome them?
Yeah, I think so. Paper is it's a fascinating material. It's been around for sort of 2,000 plus years and used across many different sort of societies and cultures. And so it's an incredibly kind of like robust and very adaptable material. But it has equally plastics are incredible in their regards to kind of strength and how light they are and how adaptable they are as well. So you have to sort of think cleverly about how you can kind of use paper and engineer paper to create strength. So we've developed a solution which uses kind of paper end on. So there's a sort of almost like the that creates, so it kind of creates this sort of stronger kind of like buffer. By using multiple layers of paper, which are sort of stretched out, you create this huge amount of tension. And we're also, I think, as well as the product itself, we are trying to develop kind of outer cartons as well. So thinking about the complete solution. So if you have a bottle product, we're developing the sleeve, but also the outer carton as well. And so by creating sort of an architecture and sort of like cleverly engineered, you're kind of reducing the amount of material you need, but also actually in some instances increasing the strength, which are on par or better than, say, other alternatives on the market, like EPS foams and inflatable sort of plastic air sacs.
I've been really impressed and just love some of the videos that you guys have produced. The one that I love is I think of Sam dropping a bottle of champagne from on top of a staircase that was something like, 18 feet high or something, and it surviving.
Yeah. Just on that note, I mean, I think coming back to the beginning where there was this sort of like blanket of kind of like lots of no's as you come in, we had to sort of think on our feet quite quickly about how do you make this product a sort of visually immersive kind of like product for people to be able to sort of understand how it works and also understand some of the sort of the benefits, and make it kind of quick and simple to be able to kind of create those little sales tools in order to get your kind of foot in the door with these businesses. And that is, as like you said, Chris, that was one video which kind of went slightly viral, and we had a great kind of like, I think it almost like kickstarts a lot of the brands we currently work with in the drinks industry with that often.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Those videos really grabbed my attention when I was sort of, looking for a job with purpose. And I saw the video of Sam dropping a bottle of champagne in paper. And I was like, no way can paper be that strong. That's unbelievable. And it's a great marketing tool. And now we sort of do it across, lots of products and testing different things. And I think we've become quite renowned for it. So yeah, they were good.
I wrapped myself up with Flexi-Hex and became Flexi-Hex man for Halloween a couple of years ago, and did a couple, face drops on the floor, and it was very protective. So thank you for that.
That's good.
I'm glad you survived.
I think that the storytelling aspect of it is so important when it comes to marketing and how we can retell the story of paper products and protective paper products. Bella, in your experience, how does that role of storytelling play into helping your customers adapt or move towards more sustainable packaging?
Yeah, I mean, so my background is marketing and brand, and so it was hugely important to me and Sam as well when I joined the company to sort of make sure we weren't just another commodity product without a brand, but actually we were a packaging product that people wanted to talk about, and not just the people buying from us, but the consumers as well. So how could we make something like packaging really cool and make people want to learn more about it, and why is it sustainable, and what's the impact? And so it's been a real challenge, and we really loved bringing Flexi-Hex to life. But not only that, by having storytelling, you're bringing your customer stories to life as well. So when customers are choosing Flexi-Hex, we can have this collaboration and we can talk, and people want to read about it on LinkedIn or want to follow it on Instagram. And so you're sort of, you are telling the stories of why your packaging is better for the planet, why your customers' decisions to choose Flexi-Hex are good ones, and then you're educating their consumers and they're learning something. So just by starting off by being, a cool brand per se, you're sort of evolving that into something so much bigger. And equally, I think it's really important that we have fun in the office. We live down here in Cornwall, which is a beautiful part of the UK, and we're all sort of big outdoorsy people. And so being able to sort of bring the brand to life through storytelling and getting outdoors and throwing things off cliffs, it's fun for us, and hopefully it's fun for everyone that follows as well.
It was one of the first things that really attracted me to Flexi-Hex, and I'm so glad that we connected and have been able to do some really amazing things over the last several years. But yeah, I've always been impressed with your marketing, your videos, your LinkedIn. So from one marketer to another, really well done.
Just to come in on that as well, I think Bella has been instrumental. It's we've had an authentic story behind the business, but I've never really seen the value in it. And I think Bella has really taken that and sort of like grown, sort of realized the potential of having, as I say, of having, storytelling and it kind of creates a really strong hook around the product and a sort of a better understanding of the product as well, and sort of almost like simplifying that and laying this kind of journey out. And I think for customers, and it resonates with them, and also something they can kind of come on the journey with us as well.
I think it's one thing where I've seen just online from Flexi-Hex customers, where their customers make all of these comments about how impressed they were with the packaging, and they get a lot of social proof and a lot of kind of viral videos coming from their own customer base. So I think that's been a really cool part too. Even the work that, the end user is doing, they're so tickled by this kind of new way to package that didn't take so much plastic.
Yeah, we love going on to our customers like Trustpilot or review sites and going on and sort of clicking through them, and people are saying, yeah, the product's cool, but the packaging, oh my God, that's so cool. And we've given it to our kids and they play with it, or we've made Christmas trees out of it, or we stored it for another day and we, use it to package up bottles when we go traveling. And it's really lovely for us to see. And it's definitely a benefit of Flexi-Hex is knowing that the customers are loving it so much.
So one of the things I really love about Flexi-Hex is how, and for those of you who haven't seen it, is the sleeve, and it gets really small. And so you can fit hundreds or even thousands of these sometimes on a pallet. And so it really does reduce a lot of shipping volume and other things. So Sam, a question for you. When you show results to a brand, what tends to really resonate better to them? Is it the amount of plastic being eliminated, the shipping volume reduced, these kind of logistic savings? Where are they really getting excited?
So I would say it actually depends on the business. So for so the larger volume businesses differ from smaller SME businesses. So the SME businesses, I would say there's a greater focus on reducing plastics and kind of creating a better consumer experience, which is intuitive for consumers, and they're kind of like, some nice touch points regarding branding. When you start moving up to the higher volume businesses, then there's some sort of hidden USPs, which one of you say is the volume, like one of them is the volumetric. So Flexi-Hex, it looks unique. It's replacing plastic, but the sort of quite significant saving you can have in both transportation costs but also warehouse costs is a massive factor for kind of these big companies, and also 3PLs who kind of where every pallet is a weekly cost to either a customer or to a 3PL who can't get that money from anywhere else. So you're kind of, it's where they can save in warehousing. It becomes a very big interest and a big selling point for Flexi-Hex.
I think what's quite exciting about sort of where the packaging industry is going, and I'm sure we'll come on to this in a second, but there are lots of brilliant, plastic-free options out there, and it's an exciting time to be in the packaging industry. So I sort of feel that sustainability for many brands is a no-brainer. It's the door opener, but it's not the thing that converts. And that's where Flexi-Hex does really stand in its own right, that it's a plastic-free alternative, but the volumetrics are, they're brilliant and they stack really neatly in sort of warehouses or in small spaces. But equally the strength, like we talked about, throwing things off cliffs and stuff like that. So I think, especially these big brands, you've got to show that there are efficiencies and you're going to help the operations beyond just sort of stripping plastic from the supply chain.
Yeah, I can think of a current project that we've been working on where, the volume is just massive, 500,000 sleeves a month. And when they did all of the analysis, sustainable or not, Flexi-Hex was the best total cost of ownership solution. And a lot of times what we're also finding, I think, is like the breakage rates. In some customers that we're talking to when we promote Flexi-Hex as an option, they may have 3, 4, 5, up to 10, even sometimes higher percentage of breakage. And for some of these high-end spirits and other things, that's just a massive cost. And so I think it's also important that they look at this total cost of ownership. I know that's always a big component when we're, looking at this as a potential option.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of times people focus on sort of the unit cost of a product and not the sort of the overall impact of it. And sort of, that's why we like, partnering with Veritiv, because you guys look at the, the whole picture.
Definitely. But more brands are being asked to deliver experiential sustainability, which is, I think, a really interesting topic right now. How does Flexi-Hex help balance the, premium feel of that, especially when we talk about high-end alcohol and bottles and things like that, and social responsibility.
Yeah, I think for Flexi-Hex, they go hand in hand. I don't think it's sort of like a compromise of one versus the other, but I guess I'd love to know what your sort of definition of experiential, what do you call it, experiential sustainability is. Like, what exactly do you mean by that?
I think I've seen a lot of discourse around this idea of it needs to feel sustainable and not just be sustainable. It needs to feel sustainable. And that's where I think a lot of brands get into the dangers of greenwashing, where they focus too much on this feel of sustainability without it actually being sustainable. And so, how do you balance something that feels sustainable, feels premium, feels luxury, and also still does hit on that responsibility to the planet?
Yeah. Yeah. So I still stick with that sort of like, we don't feel like it's a compromise or one over the other at Flexi-Hex. I think one thing we did do a couple of years ago that helped was we only now stock craft Flexi-Hex. So all of our sleeves are made from 100% recycled paper in a craft color. It can come in custom colors at certain MOQs. You can get any color that you like. But, if you're starting to dye or bleach any sort of papers, then, you're doing that, compromising on how sustainable that product is. And so for us to keep a very clear message, we just sort of stock just the craft color. And I think that the way sustainability is going is that craft is premium. It feels luxurious. It feels very lovely. And then you mix that with the design that Sam's come up with, which is a sort of a honeycomb with a beautiful unboxing experience that can go around that honeycomb sleeve. And ultimately, you're leaving the customer with a very memorable unboxing experience through the mail, which isn't compromising on sustainability. And it's quite, it's a clear message when people receive craft in the mail. They know how to recycle it. And most people are educated on that. And that's why it's one of the most recycled materials around the world, because you don't have to sort of say, what type of cardboard is this? It's just cardboard. So I think that definitely works in our favor as well.
I think you guys are really on the forefront of this paperization trend, and it is amazing to see what paper can do and all of the new solutions that are coming. But Flexi-Hex really has that aha. I hand them out to customers and everybody loves to play with them and imagine how they could use them. So Bella, what's one design tweak that you've seen make a really big difference in both sustainability metrics, but also in brand perception?
Yeah, again, I think, not to repeat myself, but I think it would be that decision of not stocking black and white and all these different colors. I think that decision of saying, do you know what, we are only going to offer craft as a stocked color, make people's lives easier, like, from a decision-making point of view, and sort of with all the marketing and the storytelling that we do, showing that craft color can be something that's really premium and really look beautiful. I think that's one, has made our jobs easier because we're just sort of delivering home one message really clearly, but it sort of is easier from a customer point of view as well.
I think that craft color, I remember a few years ago, especially I was working with a lot of medical device companies, et cetera, and everything had to come in white. But that perception really is changing. And now more and more of our customers, they want craft. It is the sign of new luxury, of sustainability. So it's an exciting trend. I'm glad that you guys made that choice as well to really kind of push the market forward.
Yeah. And I think, as you mentioned, the paperization trend is something that we're seeing grow more and more in almost every industry. Sam, I'm curious, looking ahead 5 to 10 years, where do you see protective packaging headed? Are we talking reuse, automation, new materials, anything that you think is coming that you're excited about?
I mean, I think, like I said earlier, I think that, there's a lot of exciting startups in the industry, within the market, from sort of paper products coming to market through to as a whole sort of exciting kind of growth of materials coming from seaweeds, like companies like Nopla, which are looking at sort of kind of waterproof films made from seaweed, which 100% compostable. So I see the kind of future of kind of protective packaging very much in material innovation. I also think there's huge potential innovation which is starting to come into the market as well, is how you can kind of like make this right size box for products. So you're really eliminating, any dead space within sort of the shipping, the shippers. So you are literally sending the product or a number of products with just the right amount of material to protect it through the courier network. So I think materials and innovation in how you can kind of make boxes exactly the right size, which stops any movements, reduces breakages. That's why I see it going.
Totally agree. There's so much on the market that we're really excited about. Flexi-Hex is an easy one, definitely in that category.
It's been a great opportunity, I think, for us at the Sustainable Design Lab to work with so many cool startup companies that are really looking at the future, driving these changes in materials. And it's been a pleasure to really work with you both. So we ask every guest that comes onto this podcast this question. And so we'd like to hear both of your perspectives. When you think about the future of packaging, what's one thing that makes you most hopeful? We really need hope in the world, resilience. So we love to hear what do you guys think?
I'm going to just say the people. When you meet people across the industry, or people that brands that you're selling into, and people care, and that's really exciting. And I think that governments are changing their laws. It might not be quick enough, but it's hard to change laws quickly. But what keeps me excited is the fact that people aren't just sort of waiting for things to happen, they're making it happen. And from people like yourselves at Veritiv to the brands that we work with, there are a lot of people out there that really do care. And I think if you surround yourself with those people, you'll see that together we really can make a big difference. And so I would keep finding those people, keep trying to lean into them, and say what it sounds talking about earlier. There's amazing brands coming out, from Nopla to Wooler and Sway. There's some really cool companies out there, and if we can all sort of educate people together about what packaging choices are out there, and how to be a better business and all those types of things, then we're going to sort of stay motivated and be resilient. And bring it back to the beginning of the podcast, I guess, is how do you stay resilient when things seem tough? Yes, surround yourselves and around with good people and good businesses.
Yeah, I'd second that. And I think a few years ago, almost when we started, it felt when we were talking to bigger brands, it was a kind of like a tick box exercise with regards to sort of like, oh yeah, we'll have a look at this sustainable kind of like packaging brand, but there was at the flip side, you could feel there was resistance and they couldn't quite see how it would work into their supply chain. But now, I say the conversations we're having with big brands, and the fact we're part of the portfolio of Veritiv as well, is kind of big businesses are alert to the exciting opportunities of these smaller startups, and the smaller startups need the bigger brands to listen and to take note of what they're trying to do, and this kind of like symbiotic relationship is starting to work really nicely now, where we're kind of like like Veritiv is giving us a platform to be able to sort of get in front of a lot more people. And then it allows you to kind of like have a greater impact on innovation and product development as well.
Couldn't agree more with both of you. I think there's so much hope in the industry because we get to work with people like you guys, and we are so thankful for our partnership and all the things that we've done so far and all the things that we have planned for the future. And I'm excited to see more Flexi-Hex in the wild, and glad to have you guys on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
So that was a great conversation with Bella and Sam. I just love them both. Flexi-Hex. It's really, my privilege, and I know yours, to work here at the Sustainable Design Lab by Veritiv, and really be able to partner with startup companies that are really driving the future of packaging. And I think Flexi-Hex is a perfect example of that. The authenticity. I love their stories, like Bella rowing across the ocean and seeing plastic, and that driving her desire to really give back and have a purposeful life. And sustainable packaging is one of those areas where you can really do that.
Totally agree. I think I love working with them for a multitude of reasons, like you mentioned. One of them is that it is just an easy product to recommend to customers. It started with surfboards, but it really, we've used it across a wide range of industries and products. Even won a Dieline Award earlier this year for our beverage solution, shippers. And the customization that's even possible with it. I love that they've chosen to use craft as a stock product for sustainability reasons, as well as customer experience reasons. But there's so much opportunity when it comes to that unboxing experience when it comes to Flexi-Hex.
So we hope you like this episode. And if you did, please like and maybe forward it to a friend. And we'll continue to cultivate innovation here at Veritiv at the Sustainable Design Lab and bring you amazing trailblazers, killer innovators, and those people who are really driving the future of sustainable packaging.
Absolutely. They're the ones who give us hope and keep us going. So until next time.
Thank you.